Hi, it's Lee and welcome to the Test Economist. Thanks for being patient. I haven't had a chance to make a video lately as I've been traveling a bit, so there's a lot to go over. The biggest, most recent news we've heard is that Tesla has produced its 20 millionth 4680 cell in Texas. As you likely recall, back in June, Tesla announced their 10 millionth 4680 cell in Texas, so approximately 4 months ago. The production line probably started in January, when it was officially announced on the Q4 earnings call. So perhaps it took about 5 months to make the first 10 million, and then 4 months to make the second 10 million. Now, most of the community seem to be celebrating this is an amazing sort of exponential growth. But there's no proof that the production rate has actually increased since June. It's highly possible Tesla are making about the same amount of cells in June as they are today. There's no evidence to prove they are not. Okay, sure, in reality, they probably are making more, but probably in the ballpark of perhaps 20 to 30%. Everyone is saying that this is an exponential increase, and I'm seeing some seriously insane fanboy charts going around with the steepest S curves in history on how many Cybertrucks Tesla can make at this rate. And people telling me I was wrong about my predictions on 4680s. I actually didn't predict anything. All I have been saying is that the ramp has been disappointing. And if anyone was wrong about 4680 predictions, it's Elon. We should be on a run rate of closer to 200 gigawatt hours a year if battery day targets were anything to go by. My opinion was that 4680s are not detrimental to Tesla's medium-term growth, as Gen 3 can also use LFP cells. However, we hope that Tesla are learning a lot, and that when Tesla turn on those other 4680 lines in Texas, then it won't take anywhere near as long to ramp as the first one. That's what matters, how fast Tesla can replicate 4680 lines. Now, if Tesla produced 10 million cells in Texas over the last 117 days, then that's 85,000 cells a day, average rate. If each cell is 90 watt hours, if they are cyber cells, then we have a run rate of 2.8 gigawatt hours a year. Or perhaps it has been ramping, then there are possibly up to as much as 3.5 gigawatt hour a year run rate now. Plus perhaps another 5 gigawatt hours a year from Cato Road. However, I believe the last we heard about that it was shut down, perhaps for upgrades to test a new generation. For me, this is still nothing too much to get excited about when it comes to 4680 cells yet. I think we're still waiting for some sort of breakthrough, likely with something to do with the dry battery electrode process. Does any of this matter? Well, what's the point of 4680 cells? It was to increase production of the Model Y in Texas and Berlin, but the market or stock price doesn't seem that concerned about the fact that's not happening. In fact, Tesla has even stopped making 4680 Model Ys in Austin. So currently, the main purpose of 4680 cells is for the Cybertruck. In fact, the Cybertruck is the main focus of Tesla now, as every day we get that much closer to hearing the official launch, and soon we should get the announcement of the delivery event. And this vehicle actually becomes officially launched. A day many said would never happen, and bulls continually try to predict with anticipation of when it may occur. Presumably, it might be announced about 1 month before the event, and it has to be this year, or the stock will suffer and Elon will get ridiculed. There is no choice, it has to happen this year, and it can't really happen around Christmas, as it needs to be everyone's focus, so really likely in November. The initial reveal was the 22nd of November, as far back as 2019 now, so perhaps the delivery event will also be on the 22nd, 4 years later, meaning the announcement should be within the next 2 weeks. Once it's announced, then I expect the stock to run. It seems obvious, but sometimes the stock doesn't do what we expect. But I think between the announcement and the event, the stock could run 10 to 15% based on the anticipation, all other things being equal. Technical analysts are saying we could see the stock between $320 and $340 if we break through some of the resistance, which Cybertruck might achieve. We're talking about it adding an additional $100 billion or so onto the valuation of the company, or twice what Ford is worth, to put it into perspective. Tesla would have to sell a lot of Cybertrucks to make $100 billion. But it's not just about the truck. It's evidence Tesla can achieve what it sets out to, even if it takes 4 years. And perhaps they can also successfully ramp 4680s or solve FSD, each worth likely trillions. It's about having faith in the company, but faith is fickle in the market, and it needs to see Tesla or Elon breathe new confidence from time to time. Cybertruck will do that. It's an incredible looking car. It's the coolest consumer product ever. But back to the sales. So if Tesla are at a run rate of perhaps 10 gigawatt hours a year, by the end of the year from Texas and Cato Road, and if each Cybertruck is an average of 120 kilowatt hour battery, then that's enough sales for 80,000 Cybertrucks a year. It's unlikely Tesla will make that many even next year. In other words, there are enough sales for the Cybertruck even at this run rate. Not only that, Panasonic's 4680 cells will also start production mid next year and provide a significant boost in 4680 supply. There could be around 50 gigawatt hours a year a run rate of 4680s by the end of next year. We're all unsure as to how fast the Cybertruck will ramp. The latest Elon has said is volume production by the end of next year, or 5,000 a week. I don't think it would take that much for Tesla to have enough supply of 4680s to reach that level of production. So the stock will run. Who knows, perhaps it will break 300. There could be some other good news as well that perhaps helps Tesla's stock price in that direction too. Then most people will probably say that Tesla's stock price will drop after that delivery event. That whole cliche of buy the rumor and sell the news. But we don't even know the specs or the price of this car or variants yet. The stock price may drop, but it might not drop as much as it runs. For example, if it runs to 320, it might still hold at 300. I think the fact that it has launched will carry some value. However, the specs might blow us away. There may be some features in there that no one has expected. The range might be overly impressive, and the price might be lower than people were expecting. Remember, Tesla will get about $5,000 in subsidies from the government just for the batteries and cells, and then another $7,500 off each one from the rebate, which will start next year. None of this was expected when Tesla initially revealed the Cybertruck and advertised the initial prices. Since the reveal, demand for EVs in general has increased dramatically. Tesla have a backorder of around 2 million units, and there's been a lot of inflation, leading most in the community to expect prices to be higher than they were initially advertised. Also, the fact that the first 100,000 may not even be delivered until sometime in 2025 means there'll be a lot of consumers that would be willing to pay more to get theirs sooner. Tesla could probably get away with selling them at a much higher price, which is a strategy they have generally done, like the Plaid. And then when the initial demand is exhausted, Tesla drops the price to a more affordable price for the mass market. Once the innovators who are willing to pay more for their car earlier is exhausted, and as Tesla ramps up their supply more, then we'll see prices drop. However, Tesla may not use that pricing strategy with the Cybertruck. I think the lower cost it is launched, then the better the stock price will be. If the stock price is just 5% more because the Cybertruck costs $10,000 less in price, then that means the company is worth almost $50 billion more. Tesla would need to sell 5 million Cybertrucks to get that much back in sales with that higher price. So I think it makes sense to launch for the lower price to start with, compared to making an extra 100 million or so on the first 100,000 sales. I want to see the Cybertruck launch for pretty much as low a price as possible. However, perhaps Tesla will just launch 2 or maybe 3 versions at once and announce all the prices, except the performance version is the only one available for now, and eventually a long range and standard range version are released too. But Tesla do show the price of all models initially and show that perhaps they undercut Rivian and Ford. Anyway, I hope we get the announcement soon. Thanks for listening. Please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter and talk to me on Patreon.